All right, welcome in. Musso at the box. LSU, they fall 7-6 to McNeese State here on Tuesday night. It is LSU's first loss of the season. They dropped to 8-1. It also ends a 16-game winning streak for the program dating back to last season. This game will be defined by two things. Number one, free passes on the mound, especially early in this ball game for LSU. Number two, the big hit eluding this offense that has been so dominant all season long. For the first 4 innings of this ball game on the mound, that was absolutely dreadful for LSU. There's no other way to put it. For the first 4 innings on the mound, really the second through the fourth, because Marcos Paz goes out there in the first inning and looks like he is just about to cruise. 3 up, 3 down, relative ease with it. I'll double check this. I don't think he went to a 3-ball count in that entire inning. He did not. He gets the first 4 hitters, relative ease, and then everything imploded on the LSU pitching staff. And with 1 out in the second inning, they would go on to allow 7 runs and issue 8 free passes. 5 hit by pitch, 3 walks. That's dreadful. That 3 up, 3 down inning in the first was LSU's only one until the 8th inning, when Devin Sheeran, who steadied this game tremendously and was awesome, got 3 up, 3 down. It was woeful and inexcusable on the mound to start this game. Now, that being said, a little bit later on in the game when LSU started fighting back, which I want to get to, the pitching really flexed its muscle from a couple of guys and pitched out of some tough high-leverage situations. But early in the game, that wasn't there. And ultimately, you dug a really deep hole against a team that was going to come in here game. We talked about this spot for LSU. Sometimes they're right in front of you. If you're looking for them, they're right in front of it. They're right in front of you. LSU had won 8 games in a row. They had been absolutely dump trucking folks in those 8 games. You had played 8 games in 10 days. There had to be a little fatigue there. And you're on top of the world. And here comes lowly McNeese, who's 2-5 and scored all of 5 runs a weekend ago. LSU's going to roll, right? No. That is the perfect ingredients for a trap game, for a letdown spot. And you've seen it now. You have seen it now in 4 out of 5 years after that tournament, after the big tournament for LSU. This is the first one they lost. It's why I wanted to make a point of that in the preview, because this was always possible. And when you go out there and you issue 8 free passes in the first 4 innings, that's a lack of focus. They weren't ready to play tonight. And I think Jay Johnson would say the same exact thing when he goes into the post-game press conference, that they weren't ready to play and he should have had them better prepared. I think that's what he will say. And I looked at that team, and you saw them also at the plate strike out 8 times, which is above their average. And you saw them chase more out of the zone than you have at times this season. That tells me they weren't ready. Like they weren't all in, ready to go for this night. And they dug a deep hole. And after they dug the hole, it's 7-2 after 4 innings. I had tweeted out, I said, this game from here on out is about the LSU response. Do they lay down or do they fight? And I expected them to fight, and fight they did, and they deserve a lot of credit for that. They deserve a lot of credit. They had not been in that spot yet this season, and they fought back and had the tying and winning run on base, and Seth Dardar damn near hit a walk-off homer. But ultimately, LSU falls for the first time this year. I want to get deeper into some of it, but that's just some overall thoughts that I have kind of on the game right now. We're going to go deeper. First, I want to ask you to subscribe. If you haven't already, please share. Please smash the like button, YouTube channel, and your favorite podcast app. Please follow on social media. That's greatly appreciated as well. And, yeah, and share. Okay. Some thoughts on some individual guys. We'll start on the mound. I thought the first inning for Marcos Paz was as good as they're going to get. We kind of touched on that right at the beginning. 3 up, 3 down. Did not go to a 3-ball count. Was really, really good. Gets the first guy in the second. Really no problem. And then the wheels fell off for him. He really lost control of the breaking ball first, and then the fastball followed. And ultimately, you had to go get him when you did. That's going to happen for him right now. Okay? Marcos Paz is coming off of Tommy John. He missed his entire senior season. They're going to have to ease him into this. So I wasn't necessarily shocked to see him struggle towards the end of his outing. He threw 43 pitches. I was surprised to see it go so spectacularly bad, but they're going to keep bringing him along. I'm not super worried about him. You saw what it can be in that first inning for Marcos Paz. It is a very repeatable, easy delivery, and he was very good at times. Where I do have concern, well, concern is not the right word. I take that back. We're 9 games into this. Concern is not the right word. Something that has my attention is the start to the season for Cooper Williams. Because quite frankly, LSU needs more from Cooper Williams. What he's done to start this season in 3 outings has not been good enough. That's as plain and simple as I can put it. That's a guy who a season ago was a very big part of this team. That's a guy who, as a freshman in 2025, appeared in 21 games and pitched to a sub-2 ERA and pitched some really big innings for you down the stretch. And that's a guy that you have seen now in 3 outings this season really struggle. There's just no ways around that. He did not give up a run of his own tonight, but he allowed 3 inherited runs to score. You're putting him in that spot to go in there and be a stopgap, a spot he can be in plenty this season, and he wasn't able to. He wasn't able to execute in it, and that has my attention, especially given that he came into this with an ERA north of 7 in 3 2/3. The walk number isn't huge for him, which is great, but he's falling behind early in counts, and teams are hitting him hard. That is something that I will be watching going forward because Cooper Williams is too big of a part of this to get off to the start that he has gotten off to now. He really needs a strong bounce back this weekend. That has my attention. Now, what LSU has shown you is they're incredibly deep. But especially given the way Williams was pitching in the inner squads coming into this, I'm very surprised at the start that he's gotten off to. And quite honestly, I'll say it again, LSU needs more from him right now. They just do. That was a huge spot in the game. From there you went to Dox Dothie. I thought he did well at times, really getting LSU out of a jam. He came in and closed out that the third inning, after oh, that's the wrong inning. Hold on. Had to pull up the right one. After Williams gets a strikeout, Dothie comes in, strikeout, hit by pitch, strikeout to end the inning. So he pitched around his free pass. But you go to you go to the fourth, he hits the first batter, so his second hit batter of the game, and then he gives up the single, and he's out of the game. And on that single, you had the throwing error by Jake Brown, which was egregious. Jake Brown's a veteran player. Jake Brown's better than that. He knows better than that. He should have just put it in his pocket. He didn't. He won't make that mistake again. I'm very confident. We're not here to crush Jake Brown. He's been incredible. But that was a rough moment for LSU there. And instead of, runners at first and third, you ended up with a run in and another runner at second base and nobody out. That puts you in a really, really tough spot if you were LSU. And then you had two more free passes, a sac fly, and a single. The biggest difference in this ball game for me tonight is McNeese State's ability to get the big hit. I talked about how that eluded LSU all throughout the night. It did not elude McNeese State early. You go back to that second inning. The first two runs of the game scored on free passes. Paz hit Fontenot, that drove in a run. Williams comes in, hits the first batter he faces, that drives in a second. But that's keep in mind, that's with two outs. That's with two outs. The difference is Barbero gets a 2 RBI, 2 strike single that brings in two more, and you end up with a 4 spot instead of a 3 spot. Same thing in the fourth inning. There's 2 outs. After the sac fly, Edwards singles to right field, drives in another, and you get to 3 instead of just 2. Those are huge hits that were the difference in this game when you look at it ending as a 1-run ball game. And on the flip side, LSU couldn't do that tonight. Just go to the 5th inning when LSU starts to claw back. Caraway walks, Curiel walks. They're giving you gifts. Remember, we talked about this with McNeese. We talked about this in the preview. McNeese State came into this ball game with 54 walks issued as a team in 65 innings. You knew they were going to give you free passes, and they did. They walked 8 guys tonight, and they hit another. That was 9 free passes from them. But you couldn't capitalize the same way that they did. You go to that 5th, like I said, it starts with the 2 walks. Brown comes up as ahead in the count 2-0 and singles. You have you have a run come in. Then you have a passed ball that allows another run to come in. And Brown advances to second. Milam walks. Would eventually advance. So you have runners at first and second there. And Zach York at the plate. It's a 3-run game. York grounds out unassisted to first base. But that advances 2. And then Cerna grounds out to third. You had an opportunity there for a big hit, and you couldn't get it done. The same deal in the 6th inning, where LSU loads the bases with 1 out. You had a single and then 2 more walks. You have the top of the order up with Curiel and Brown. You go fly out, which is the sac fly, that gets another run home. But again, you have Brown up now, runners in scoring position still. And it's another fly out and the inning is over. You had the bases loaded with 1 out, you got 1 run. You didn't have the big hit, McNeese did. And that eluded LSU all throughout the night. I mean, look no further than the 9th inning. You had first and second, 1 out. You strand them both. This team has been great at clutch at bats all year, and they just weren't tonight. LSU just wasn't fully ready to go tonight. The spot dictated that. Unfortunately, they obliged, and they take their first loss of the year. Now that I've done like 15 minutes of negative and things that were disappointing tonight, there was a lot of encouraging things as well. LSU earning some of those walks and finding their ways on base and not giving up. I thought you saw, as woeful as the pitching was early in this game, you saw some awesome pitching from LSU late to keep them in this game. The 5 straight zeros that LSU put up from the 5th inning on were massive. And those cannot go without being acknowledged because they were huge. And you saw some real high leverage stuff there. I thought Reagan Ricken came in and really steadied the game for the first time for an LSU pitcher when he relieved Lockenmeyer. I mean, he came in with a runner on, struck the first 2 guys out, gives up a single, so you have 2 guys on and gets another strikeout to end the inning. That's a high leverage spot for a freshman, and he passed the test and put up a big 0 for LSU there. You go to the 6th inning. He gets another strikeout, but then he gets into trouble. He gives up the double. You have a passed ball that advances the runner. Then he walks the guy, and he's out. And Santiago Garcia comes in. And this was the best Garcia has looked in an LSU uniform so far. He was awesome. You're looking at runners at 1st and 3rd with 1 out when Garcia comes in, and he punches out Schneider, boom, 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 on a wicked, wicked breaking ball. Edwards would advance to 2nd, so now you have 2nd and 3rd, kind of a little catcher's indifference type deal there. No problem. Another strikeout, another wicked breaking ball from Santiago Garcia. Again, high leverage spot. LSU needed a 0 there because they had just put up 2 runs. You could not allow McNeese to answer, and Garcia didn't. That's a huge moment for him in his development, and a guy that I really think could be LSU's best lefty option out of the bullpen this year. And you see why. The fastball's into the low to mid 90s, and he's got 2 different breaking balls that he showed tonight. The hook was absolutely filthy, and that's what he got the 2 strikeouts on. So that was a massive moment. LSU would add the run in the 6th inning. You go to the 7th, you need another moment here where you hang a 0 because now you're within 2 runs. Garcia gives up a leadoff double. They go to Zach Cowan. He gets an infield pop-up. Very nice. Then issues a walk, and he's out of the game, and here comes Devin Sheeran. You have 2 guys on in a 2-run game and nobody out. Or excuse me, 1 out. 1 out that Cowan got on the pop fly. And here comes Devin Sheeran. You have 2 stolen bases to move the runners to 2nd and 3rd. Sheeran gets a pop out from Barbero, who's one of their best hitters, and then gets a strikeout swinging to end the inning and hang another 0. And then he was just nails in the 8th. 3 up, 3 down, another strikeout. That was LSU's first 3 up, 3 down inning since the 1st inning, as we mentioned earlier. LSU, Pearson would hit the homer. And then I thought Jaden Newt, y'all, in the 9th inning, what a bounce back for him. He struggled in his first appearance of the season. That was a big spot for him, a 1-run game where it's, hey, man, you got to go out there and you got to keep us right here. It would have been very easy to leave Devin Sheeran in there. They went to Newt, see if you can bounce back in this spot. Boy, did he. He goes 3 up, 3 down with a strikeout. The splitter worked great. He pounded the strike zone. Ultimately, LSU couldn't get the run across. But as much as we bang on the pitching early in this game, and rightfully so, because they were not good. They weren't good. You praise them for the 5 straight 0s they put up to keep you in this, and that's the big takeaway here. Yes, I see a lot of you in the comments. Musso, you nailed it. You nailed it. That brings me no joy. I don't want to be correct if it means LSU losing. That's not a thing that I enjoy watching. But the takeaway from me here is they fought back. They weren't ready to play. They didn't have their best stuff tonight, and they fought back, and they almost won. And that's encouraging. Right? That's gives me great confidence that this one loss won't turn into two back-to-back. I expect this team to be completely refocused the next time they come out on Friday night against Dartmouth behind Case and Evans. And I think you see something that more closely resembles the team you saw the first 8 games of the season and not this 9th one. But overall, LSU takes their first loss. They made a lot of mistakes that cost them, but they didn't give up the fight, and they were one swing away from tying it and winning the game in the bottom of the 9th. Unfortunately, it wasn't to be. Questions, comments, concerns, anything you got for me? We have a few minutes here. We can knock some of those out. Or I can just go to bed. You know, I'm not going to be opposed to that either. If that happens to be the case here. Randall Offrecht. Musso, is the season over? Yes, Randall, the season's over. Jay Noon says, what happened to Aaron Beatty? Aaron Beatty, when he was catching, there was a ball that was fouled off of him. It shook him up a little bit, and they put him from the game. I think that's probably precaution. I'll be quite honest with you. I was surprised to see Aaron Beatty in the starting lineup kind of to begin with. This felt like an Omar Cerna catch game, just to kind of give Aaron Beatty, you know, his legs a rest with 4 games coming up this weekend. Although you'll see Cerna catch this weekend. I think it's an abundance of caution. Maybe he just wasn't feeling it after that. It shook him up maybe a little bit more. I would expect Aaron Beatty to be fine going forward, but that is what happened to him. He had a ball fouled off of him behind the plate, and it just kind of shook him up a little bit. Cajun curveball, 6 hit by pitches, a lot of free bases. Does it get cleaned up? Yes, it gets cleaned up. Like this is the only game this year that I've actually been fed up with the free bases. I think LSU's actually been much better at it than people have given them credit for. This is really the first game where it cost you. Like, this is the first game it's been a problem. So LSU did a great job in the zone this past weekend over in Jacksonville. So, I mean, look, the pitching staff, it will happen when it needs to happen for this group. I'm not concerned. Just in the interest and in the name of consistency, we're going to talk about the bad when there's bad, and we're going to praise the good when there's good. Bayou Bros, who do you think is our ace pitcher? Sheeran, Guidry, Rizzi, or Williams? Oh, you're talking just out of the bullpen. It's Sheeran and Guidry right now. And I mean, how can it not be? Sheeran hadn't given up a run. He's struck out now 10 in 4 appearances. He's been awesome. And you know what? Yeah, y'all are showing all that. I mean, it's a bloodbath in the SEC tonight. Arkansas went down. Alabama got absolutely skunked on the road at Southern Miss. Oklahoma got lit up by Arizona State, who's looks like a really good ball club. So, you know, it was just one of those things, man. Like, OU, that game was 14-2 in like the 3rd inning up in Norman tonight. It was great. I see a lot of y'all talking about the York foul ball. Yeah, well, unfortunately, that's not a reviewable play. Umpires are not great at their job. We know that. Not a reviewable play. Even if it was reviewable, you didn't have a camera angle that was really going to be able to overturn that. It probably would have stood anyway. So tough break, man. But it is what it is. Brent Semino, Big John, John Pearson. Big John get more run this weekend? Yeah, I sure. Why not? You got 4 games, man. John Pearson, after not looking great in his first 2 at-bats of the night, ends up 2 out of 4 with the home run and a single. He's hitting 455 right now on the season. A couple dingers. I think I would love to see that. Get a little bit more run from John Pearson. I struck out in his first 2 at bats, singling a homer in his last 2. Made some nice adjustments there. And McNeese, for some reason, stopped throwing him lefty changeups. I don't know why, but they just went away from it. And he made him pay. So that's how it goes there. Fred Sebring says, does Jay mess with the lineup, try and spread the left-handed hitters out more? I don't really think so. We talked about this in the recap from the weekend. LSU has been crushing left-handed pitching, and they did it tonight. Like your lefties, I mean, Lynn Rollins was giving out the stats on the broadcast. I mean, Derek Curriell's hitting 462 off lefties. Jake Brown is hitting over 300 off of lefties. Like Zach York, Seth Dardar has abused left-handed pitching. So your lefties have actually been pretty good against lefties, and LSU's been good against left-handed pitching this season. They just weren't tonight. And you know what? A lot of credit to some of those guys from McNeese, man. They battled hard. Miller, the kid, Jarius Miller, they brought in. I couldn't believe they took him out of the game. I would have just thrown him till his arm fell off. He was pounding the zone and had a little bit of life on the fastball. It played up really well. He was really good. Barb High School, what do you expect? It's a great program. They churn out a lot of D1 players over there in Lake Charles. It's a powerhouse and has been for some time, man. Ethan brings up Braun's last at bat. Man, that young man is just... You saw it. I mean, you saw it. You saw it at the end of fall and then all throughout the preseason. And you're seeing it now. The at-bats are so good. And that's what's going to be so encouraging when the power does come consistently for him, because he consistently turns in great at-bat after great at-bat after great at-bat, which is massive. Ryler Smart, y'all have asked a lot about Ryler Smart. He is not on the roster. He is not on the team right now. Had come over. He was hurt from Tennessee, obviously. Came over to LSU in the transfer portal, and he is flat out not on the team right now. Like he's not on the roster. That's really all I can offer you. And also add that LSU's fine on the mound. Like they got a lot of depth, a lot of good depth for LSU, and you saw that. You saw that again. You saw that today. Brent Semino, do we tie the game if we take a hit from one of those pitches? I'm not sure I understand the question. LSU ties the game if you were able to not give up the big hit and really inflate those innings, which is something that I talked about earlier in this season as being kind of my point of interest with this pitching staff. When everyone wanted to talk about the walks early, I focused more in on the big hit, and they gave up the big hit again tonight. That led to crooked numbers. LSU did not do a good job of limiting damage in the first 4 innings tonight, and that was disappointing. So I would focus there. Oh, you're talking about Darter almost getting hit by the pitch. Somebody saw us come up and get the hit and tie the game. So no, you could have. I'm not ready to say, no, if Darter gets hit by a pitch that you tie the game. The bases are loaded at that point with 2 outs. You still need the big hit, and that eluded LSU all night. But again, the takeaway of all of this is they fought back. And they were a fly ball to the warning track with the last hit. They almost came all the way back and stole one. And that's what it would have been. It would have been theft. But you take them any way you can get. And because they fought back, and because the bullpen steadied things, that's why I said they were down 7-2. It was about the response now. Not the win or lose, the response. And they had a great response without their best stuff. And I'm very confident you will see a much more focused, much more dominant LSU team when they come out on Friday to face Dartmouth. All right. That's going to wrap it up. Y'all smash the like button, please. One more time. Subscribe if you have not already, YouTube and your favorite podcast app. Follow on social media. Please share and be here next time for more on Musso at the Box.